Radio Hereford FC, the only station with full match commentaries of the Bulls. Every game, every week.
Hello and welcome again to We're Going Down the Pub with me, Frank Williams, and the man who put the wreck into Brexit.
And Vlad the Impaler.
Vlad the Impaler, yeah. Done more for British broadcasting than Lord Haw and Jimmy Cranky put together. There's a thought for you. It's the ground guide guru, Mr. Simon
Thank you, Frank.
Wright.
I just can't deal with this sort of intro. It's just overwhelming.
Well, it's very difficult to think of new things to say about you. Yeah, and I know how much people appreciate you as a ground guide guru. It's a lot of G's, though, isn't it? It's a lot of G's.
A lot of G's, yeah.
So we'll have a G up, and we're going to talk today about a trip to Wantage.
Indeed.
On December the 10th.
December the 10th, yes.
Yeah.
And to which we owe a big debt to the ever industrious Andy Gardner, who went there and basically worried everybody. No, we didn't. Sorry, Andy, but. But he gave a realistic assessment of the numbers that we're going to bring.
Now, I think Andy was responsible for some of the information we had on North Lee, which was our last one. I just want to bring people up to date on a couple of things
North Lee, yes.
About North Lee. We talked about them on our last guide, and why a club with average gates of 85 need a committee of 12. Well, I've delved deeper and I found actually that there are 17 listed officers, but that includes the bar manager, the assistant bar manager, the Saturday turnstile operator, and the midweek turnstile operator.
Fascinating?
Absolutely. They can't all be on the committee though. I wouldn't have thought so.
Well,
but definitely on the committee are the welfare officer, the safety officer, and the one you mentioned particularly, the discipline officer, a man called Pete. And we didn't know his name.
We didn't.
We know it now. It's Dix. Yeah.
Oh, that's rather appropriate, isn't it?
Really, Peter Dix, that's D-I-X, Pete Dix, so we know now who to ask for on the gate.
Right.
But we're not here to talk about them, we're here to talk about...
Well, I'm distracted now, man. I've got that image of Peter Dix with a very large cane in his hand again now.
Yeah, another Oxford area.
Yes, it's very doable. Yeah, of course, it's a Saturday, so we hope for a decent following. It's not a huge distance, 80 miles. We've had a lot worse than that.
Absolutely.
And it's a club with some kind of history.
It's an old club, isn't it?
It's an old club, yeah. I mean, I think if you and I combine our ages, it still wouldn't be old enough to compete with Wantage, because they go back to 1892.
Well, not if you're only 28, no. 1892.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alfredian Park. The club is known as the Freds, which I can't really quite get my head around. I mean,
no.
Alfredian Park is named after King Alfred the Great, who was born in the town, hence the connection. But it doesn't exactly frighten you, does it? Oh, we're playing the Freds today.
Or the Berts or the Jims.
Exactly. I mean, arguably, we call ourselves the Jamies. We've got that many.
If they're named after Alfred the Great, they call themselves the Greats.
The Greats.
The Great.
Yeah.
You know? We're going to watch the Great.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
The Freds, okay. But we must say, in fairness to the Freds, that they are a community club. They've got 5 full-size pitches, which a lot of clubs would be envious about, and they've got more players than fans.
Oh, right.
That's slightly disingenuous, because
they would be if they run that many.
Yeah, they've got a lot of kids,
Right.
yeah. And they do believe in youth, because they're the first team player manager, Stuart Cattell. He's 24. Now that
is 24. And he's been in charge a year.
He has
already.
Yeah, I bet he's probably aged a bit in that time now, given their recent results. The chairman resigned through ill health a month back, but well, you know, with the results Wantage have been having, it's enough to make anybody feel a bit unwell, isn't it?
They're a tiny club, though, aren't they? They really are. Even at this level, they're a small club.
Yeah. You know, their home record, they've drawn 2, lost 7. I mean, they make Wolves results look good, and that takes some doing. But They have entered the FA Cup. They entered it in 2002 and every year since, but they haven't got beyond the first qualifying round yet, which probably says that much about them, really. They've only been around in Step 4 since 2014. They've been hanging on grimly for the last 2 years, and I think they've had the chips this year, to be honest with you.
It's beginning to look like it near that bottom of the table, isn't it, with Bridgewater and themselves, and probably Tottenham in the mix as well.
Yeah, it's not
at the moment. Not looking good for them at all.
No. It is a club that keep it in the family.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah. Well, I did.
As clubs at the bottom of this league seem to be doing a lot. Because you have the Lairds at Bridgewater.
How could you forget
Who have we got here then?
We've got the Glover family. Now I assume it's a family. I may have that completely wrong, but the Wantage website's a bit short on detail. The chairman, the webmaster, the photographer, and now acting clubhouse manager is one Ian Glover. He's a busy chap.
He's a new chairman then.
He is for the rest of the season. Yeah. Lindsay Glover is the treasurer, and James Glover is in midfield. So it's an interesting combination.
Yeah, but they're in deep trouble because
they have no Jamies.
No Jamies.
Not
again.
a single Jamie.
Yeah.
When are these clubs going to learn that if they want to move at the table, they've got to get Jamies in? But, as I said, the website's a bit short on detail, but they do have, one name, one player who stood out for me, if I can even pronounce it. It's Zach Gunnarathan Bailey. Now, imagine chanting that, No, perhaps not.
Perhaps some of our more vociferous listeners might come up with a chant.
It
doesn't scan very well.
Work that into a song, that's interesting. But, he's 19, he's Oxford based, he's got a LinkedIn page with videos to profile his footballing skills, so I guess the sort of message there, he doesn't want to stay at Wantage very long.
Right,
So there you go.
The ground.
The ground, yes.
It's a very basic. It's one of the smaller grounds. It's only half a mile from the centre of Wantage, which is small market town.
The size of Leominster.
Well, it's not that small then, it's decent.
It's Keithall territory, isn't it? That sort of size, that sort of size. But not that I'm terribly familiar with Wantage, but... And then again, very few of the residents of Wantage are familiar with their football club, judging by the gates.
Right, average?
Average 80 masochists.
Right.
Though that average is rather distorted because they did get 150 for a local derby with Didcot.
Right.
On the opening day of the season, if you may recall, they got 43.
Yes, it was low, was it? We noted that at the time.
Stunning.
Last two games.
52 and 62, so...
But we understand there is a season ticket application form available.
On the website, yes, if you want to fill out an application
form. I wonder if
form.
anybody ever has. Well, probably about 80 people have.
Now then, this is another one of these clubs that imagine they have a capacity of 1,500. Like the rest of them, they have no real clue. Record attendance of 550 in a friendly against Oxford.
Oh, that's going to go.
Well, you think
that's going to go?
Yep.
I mean, we were talking about whether we could get North Lee's record of 436 to go in a midweek game. I would have thought 550 on a Saturday, albeit 2 Saturdays before Christmas.
Indeed,
Yeah, 550. It's not.
It would be good to break another record.
It would, yep.
Now, I'm afraid it does sound a bit similar to North Leeds. You're looking for a small signpost for a narrow lane to the ground. We're being quite familiar with these, aren't we? There's basically hardly any car parking at the ground. It's almost certainly going to be reserved for, the committee, the players, etc. So, there's a couple of fields nearby. Now, I know it's December, that's probably not going to be practical. So it's more likely that everybody will be advised to park across the road at what is a sort of combined recreation ground, tennis club and bowls club. A decent amount of parking there. And coaches will basically have to go there as well because they can't get nearer the ground.
Mm-hmm.
2 turnstiles, Two, yeah. This is serious. 2 turnstiles. Goodness.
Well, that's one more than a lot of the clubs.
It is, yes, Gosh, I bet their turnstile operators don't get very busy if they only
but they might have one for the weekend and one for midweek, like North Lee. You never know.
Might be different colours, yeah.
Normal admission prices?
Yeah, £8 and £5 for concessions. Got a large gate for disabled access. As you so astutely said, it's a very open ground, but they do have a stand and it holds 85 people. So,
Well, by the time we got the radio crew in, there'll be room for another 20, I suppose.
Yes, I know what you're like with your equipment and all that humping you do. It's not good in public. But
Would you like to rephrase that?
no, I like it the way it
it
is.
might get edited out.
The sense will be there again.
Absolutely.
We'll get him onto Peter Cox.
There's also standing.
Peter Dix. Downhill or up hilly here.
Exactly. But there is standing room.
There is standing room. Standing room only,
yeah.
250 supporters. Oh, and there might be a few benches to sit on as well, but there's no particular provision for the disabled, sadly. Do what we can to help them out. Yeah. Refreshments, the most important element of any game. Clubhouse is quite big, apparently. Large function room, large bar, room for 200. Which
Any proper beer?
not normally. However, George, the barman, listened to Andy Gardner's plea. Said, we are discerning folk.
Yeah.
And he responded and said, we will respond to your pleas and we will get him proper beer just for you. And I thought, good on you. If you people without any taste, you can swallow some Foster's Strongbow or 1664. There may be some bottled beers around as well, and there's BT satellite TV if that's your bag.
Access to the function room for disabled is not too good, though, is it?
It's not brilliant. There are some ramps, but it still means you've got to blast yourself over a frame to get in. So take a run at it, and there's no disabled toilets either. So it's
right. What about local?
Great.
What about local?
Yeah, I mean this sounds quite exciting, and I a few real ale lovers' noses are going to be twitching. Look out for the Royal Oak Inn.
Not another Royal Oak.
Royal Oak.
You know what? If King Charles I had spent a whole day up every oak tree that's got a pub named after it in the United Kingdom, he'd have been up there for about 4.5 years. Do you know that? I mean, everywhere you go, there's a Royal Oak with a bloke with a crown on his head sticking out the picture at the top. Right, Royal Oak.
But it is just a few hundred yards walk, and connoisseur's dream. 28 ciders or perries.
What?
Indeed, and including a couple of westerns, Rosie's Pig and Old Rosie,
right,
local favourites, and 14 real ales.
It sounds a bit like where we're sitting at the moment, doesn't it? A wagon and horse.
Yes. However, I don't think this fine establishment stocks the award-winning Dr. Hexter's.
Right.
I'm not familiar with that, but I guess if it's a warning, must have something about it.
It is like the pub we're sitting in now, because it doesn't do food, does it?
No food. Right. But it's had a continuous listing with cameras since 1985, and it's open from noon then. So form an orderly queue, chaps. But if it does get too crowded, there are alternatives all around the market square in Wantage. Another option that Andy has diligently sought out for us is the Lamb Inn. It's a 17th century boozer. It's a moorlands pub. There's a variety of ales, including London Pride. Food's good, apparently, and Sky TV, and for the real hardy folks, there's a play area as well.
Excellent. December.
Yes.
Outside.
Okay.
I wonder if it's one of those bouncy ball places,
Yeah. A lot of running around now. And people do get jolly cross if you don't mention nearest Wetherspoons. Where are we going to? It's in Oxford.
It's in Oxford.
So there.
So it's
Sort
a
that
bit
out.
of a drag. Right. Distance you said about 80 miles. What about by train? Is it possible by train?
Yeah. It's just like most away games. It's a bit of a pain in the what's-it, It's a three-hour job. You can go via Newport, or you can go via Worcester. It doesn't make a lot of difference. There's 2 changes either way. Nearest railway station, Didcot Parkway, I think it is, a mere 9 miles away. But there are bus services. Look for the Oxford bus, the X30, or the Didcot bus, X1 and X32. They run every 30 minutes, but it's a bit of a faff, really, isn't it?
Well, yet again, you're better off with Reg.
Better off with Reg. It's becoming a
now, I do know,
statement.
I have heard from Reg, yes. It's 15 quid, which I think is very good for that.
I do.
15 quid is going to be a 10 a.m. start. I would imagine it will not necessarily be the usual pickup points, because Monmouth and Chepstow are in the opposite direction, really, aren't they?
Right.
Look for the details on Hereford Away Days Facebook page for that. They haven't been published yet, but he has told me it's going to be £15.
That's fair
but I would
enough,
imagine his normal stops will be different.
Yeah.
You know. But I mean, come on, if you're in Monmouth, you can get to Ross. I would imagine he's going to go Ross, Gloucester.
Yeah, that's right. Aim to get there just in time for opening of the Royal Oak.
Yes.
Yeah.
Another Royal.
planning.
With, hopefully, a king stuck up it. Yeah. Well, that's been excellent.
There you go. Whiz through that one.
Short and sweet.
Yeah.
We hope to see you there. It will be very cold, I'm sure.
Oh, goodness me. Where are your thermals?
Well, you'll have to. There's not a lot of cover.
No.
And there's not a lot of seats.
No.
So that could affect your choices 2 weeks before Christmas. But definitely
Come on,
a ground
come on
record.
down, it'll be fun.
A ground record of 550. We should be able to see that off. And we look forward to seeing you there. Thanks very much for listening again.
This is Radio Hereford FC, the home of the Bulls. Match Day Live.